Hi, I'm just introducing today Stella, who is a member of EOS Network. I'm delighted today to have you here to tell us a little bit about your journey with eosinophilic disease. Hi, Stella.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you for having me.
Great. And I wonder if you could tell us your experience with eosinophilic disease, a little bit about how you got to where you are now and your personal experience.
Okay, well, as a child, I had problems eating, and I grew up in like the 60s and 70s, so it was a very different era. You had to eat what was put in front of you, or you got told off for it. And yeah, it was really hard. I grew up in the end thinking that it was normal to be sick, to get food stuck, to not be able to swallow. And it wasn't until I met Amanda in London a few years ago, a good few years ago actually now, at the Allergy and Free From show, when I was talking to her and realised that this could be something other than just an allergy and there was more to it. It took another good few years, actually until I was 50, to get a proper diagnosis. Up until that time, I was fobbed off with, oh, it's just heartburn, oh, it's just indigestion. And I kept arguing with the doctors, with the consultants, saying, actually, no, there's more to it than this. And I finally moved across the country, went to a different GP who actually listened to me, referred me to the gastroenterology department at the local hospital, and actually got a diagnosis of eosinophilic esophagitis. And that took a while to learn to say.
Yeah, it's difficult to say and hard to live with is our motto. So how long do you think, how can I ask you, Stella, without being too rude and asking a lady these questions, how old was you when you eventually got a diagnosis?
I was 50.
Wow. And you'd lived with these symptoms all of your life?
All of my life. I can remember as a child sitting at the dining table and food getting stuck and being thumped on the back to try and remove it, which didn't always work, or just being sick after eating.
And would you say, you know, I mean, obviously we know eosinophilic esophagitis is a progressive disorder and causes, you know, fibrous changes in your esophagus. Did you find the symptoms become increasingly worse with age? You know, how did it affect you in day to day?
Yes, it did. As time went on, it got worse. Oddly, when I was pregnant with my son, I could actually eat eggs. So for those 9 months, I was enjoying boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, egg sandwiches. The rest of my life, outside of that 9 months, I've not been able to eat eggs. So whether there is anything hormonal in it, I don't know, but it was from that point. So we're looking at the past 34 years now. It got progressively worse. And it was only when it got to the point where I really couldn't swallow and I was getting food stuck that I finally went back to the doctors and started the process again of saying there's something more than this.
And what do you think during that period of time did you find you were using as coping strategies to manage with these symptoms?
I would avoid eating. I actually trained as a chef so that I didn't have to eat food that I hadn't prepared. Coping strategies. Yeah, just avoiding food, really.
And how many foods do you
slowly
think you was avoiding during that time? What did it get to?
Oh, to be perfectly honest, I would avoid eating anything.
Wow.
But I got to the point where I would be so hungry that I'd eat rubbish, and I was surviving on chocolate and biscuits. Wow. Because those went down easily because they dissolved to nothing in your mouth. So they go down fairly easily.
And how do you think it affected the rest of your life, you know, living like this and not being able to eat properly?
I was scared to go out. I was still nervous about going out to socialise with friends, to weddings, parties, all those sorts of events. I'm still nervous of those. Oh, it's just been so difficult.
What do you think was your biggest fear if you went out and socialised and ate with others?
The food getting stuck, because when it really gets stuck and you can't even swallow your own saliva, it's really frightening. As I said, people will try and thump you on the back because they think you're just choking, but it actually is not choking, because choking is where food's gone down your windpipe and you can cough it out, or somebody thumping you on the back can remove it. But that doesn't work when food is stuck in your esophagus, and particularly with the esophagitis. The esophagus is swollen, and it's like a vice, and the food is just stuck there.
And can I ask you, you've been a member of us for a little while now, and we've seen some changes over the years. Thankfully, there is better treatments coming through now, and there is an increasing understanding amongst those healthcare professionals that know about eosinophilic disease, and we're working hard to increase that knowledge throughout all healthcare professionals. For you personally, what difference has being a member of EOS Network made to you?
It gave me the confidence to actually speak to the GP and say what I thought was wrong, because we tried everything else. I'd been on antacids and drugs like omeprazole for years and years. And to be able to actually have this information from EOS Network, to be able to go to the GP with that and say, look, I think this might be my problem. Can we investigate it? And they did, because they understood that there was more research going into it, because I'd got that contact and there was the information on the website as well that they could look up. Excellent. So that was really helpful.
And can I ask you, as being a member of the community as well, how has that affected you with being able to mix with other people, to come along to a social event, whether it be online, etc.? Has that helped you in any way?
It's helped a lot, because it's quite lonely when you've got the medical profession and your family and friends not knowing what's wrong with you. And it is very lonely, but to know that there are other people out there, that we can talk to each other and support each other. And it's really, really encouraging to know that there's somebody there that we can talk to, whether it's you, Amanda, or whether it's in the groups. It's just helpful and really good to know, and to be able to share those ideas and discuss how we're feeling, and help other people with what they're feeling as well, because it is a support network.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.